Welcome to the Woman Up podcast, the podcast that inspires women to find their voice and stand out. My name is Natasha, and I'm your host. Today, we have Christophe Mulumba-Tshimanga. He is CEO of Linebacker Prototype, professional athlete in the Canadian Football League, and he is author of the book Champion Mindset. Christophe, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and I'm excited to have you here with us.
Thank you. I was looking forward to that. So thank you for having me and inviting me to the podcast.
Amazing. So for people who do not know you, while you might be really famous, for people who do not know you, please introduce yourself.
So my name is Christophe Mulumba-Tshimanga. I'm a former professional football player. Retired a year and a half ago, so I had a chance to play in the CFL for about 5 years. And right now, what I'm doing is, obviously there's an academy that we're building up here in Montreal and around the world. So it's a linebacker football academy. Basically, we're mentoring young athletes, helping them develop, as football players, and just making sure that we're showing them the ropes. So that's basically what I do in general. In general, that will be what I do.
That's amazing. It's very inspiring. Today, we are going to be on the topic of unshakable mindset. I think I nailed it I think I'm talking to the right person on that for that topic. Am I right? Or
I don't know. I don't know if that's the right person. I'm joking. I would like to think so. I
think I nailed it. But let's dive right in. So here's my question to you. How has your background in professional athletics influenced your mindset and approach to life outside of sports?
I think when you play sports, and even like when you get to the high level, you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself, and you have to commit to the journey, right? And I think that's one thing that most people are not willing to do. And as an athlete, if you want to get to those levels, you have to commit to the journey. You have to push yourself. So that means that you have to put yourself in tough situations. You have to overcome adversity, because we all know a journey, a career or life is not just ups and downs, right? It's just not ups. There's a lot of ups and downs. So you have to be able to just rise up all the time, be resilient. So I think just building that resiliency, building that confidence as well, because once you overcome things, you build that confidence in yourself. I think that obviously that comes with football and pursuing the journey, translate to life, and it makes it not necessarily makes it easier, but it gives you a different path.
That's awesome. But how was your mindset, or where were you before you got into the, let's say, the Canadian Football League? How that changed that? What was your journey, and how did it change you?
I don't know if making it to the Canadian Football League changed my mindset. I would say that, let's say as a young kid, my family, it's 4 of us, and I'm the youngest of the guys, right? So I have 2 older brothers, and they have about 4 or 5 years. So we're 4 or 5 years apart. So, I was always, and I have a little sister. So the only girl that we have was my little sister, and I was the youngest of the boys. So I was always the kid that was getting in trouble, in the sense of I couldn't be right against my older brother, because in my family, respecting the elders.
Are you the eldest?
No, I'm the youngest of the boys, and I have 2 older brothers, right? So it's a big thing, you have to respect your brothers. And my sister was the only girl, so I was always the one at fault. And I think that built a lot of my mindset. I was always competing with my older brothers, and I always wanted to prove myself to them. And I think that built that resiliency a little bit. I would say that built a lot of my mindset, and even also, like, got lucky. My brother was a great athlete. He played Division I basketball, played for Team Canada, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to get, for football, get a scholarship as well, and make it as far as possible.
Wow, I like that. What are some key mental strategies or techniques you've used to maintain maintain or even create an unshakable mindset during the highs and the lows of your career?
I think it's important that, as humans and as men and even women, it's important to understand suffering. Understand that, if you want to get to certain places, the only way to get through that is through tough times, is through hardship. So, I feel like as a human, as an athlete, or as a girl or a boy, it's to understand that, hardship, suffering, tough times are there to help us, because you want to do something big, there's going to be hardships to shape your mindset, your mentality. And same thing with working out. Or you work out to build muscles, you have to put them through a lot of suffering. And I think just, kind of making suffering your friend, your best friend, builds that mindset.
Wow. That's another level. Make suffering your best friend. How does
Absolutely.
that work for you?
What'd you say?
How does that work?
It's obviously challenging yourself. I think I truly believe in training, not just obviously for football, but now I don't play anymore.
Yeah.
So I truly believe in that. I think that it shapes the mindset as much as possible. I think that's one of the things. And just even having a goal, set the goals for yourself, and habits that you want to change. I think like just putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and proving yourself over and over again that you're able to overcome anything. I think that builds the mindset. And obviously, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I work on that a lot. But I think it's just having a simple understanding of it makes the whole difference. Change your perspectives.
I like that. Um, can you share a specific moment or experience in your career where your mindset played a crucial role in your success or overcoming adversity? Can give us a juicy one.
So I'm trying to understand. You say so a moment in my career that my mindset helped me. There's a lot. There's good and bad, because obviously we shape ourselves. I think when I came to college, my first year in university, I had 3 knee surgeries in 10 months. So I had, and some pretty bad ones. So it's almost like wasn't supposed to play. Doctors was like, your knees are pretty old. I think one doctor was like, your knees are like a 65-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, so obviously, like, to me, rehab, if you have to go through rehab, and I say that to all athletes, and that applies to life, is a moment that it's boring, but it's tough mentally, right? It builds you mentally, because you're trying to come back from an injury, and went through rehab for a year, didn't play football for a year, and then when I came back the next year, I was I crushed everything. I was named Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. It was probably one of my best years in my career. So took a lot of mindset, took a lot of self-belief to get there. But there's also negative times that, I felt like my mindset, and at the time I didn't know that, because obviously it's a journey, brought me down, right? Like those times that, I remember my first year in the pros, it wasn't going as well. And I kind of, first couple of games that I started on defense and playing, I kind of let those performances dictate the rest of my season. So at that time, I was so used for football to be so successful, and I'd be able to dominate. And then I got faced with adversity, and I kind of shut down instead of rising to the challenge. And we need those. We need moments that we can look back and be like, maybe I could have react differently, or that moment was trying to teach me something.
Right. And at what point or what moment do you have like that reflection, or you have like that that yourself your moment where you have to reflect and have like all those you're having those thoughts about what you could have done better?
A lot of times, sometimes it's years after. Sometimes it's when you take the time. A lot of the stuff is when I was done playing. So when I reflected on my career, it's years after. It's like when you're facing a new challenge, and it kind of reminds you of a challenge that you had in different aspect, right? So it's not necessarily like right away, or sometimes it could be there's some mistakes that you make, you notice right away, but like you said something that was important. You said like, when do you reflect, right? And I think that's everything. It's, when you take the time to reflect and take the time to sit down with yourself, and reflect about, it could be the day, could be the month, could be whatever, the project that you just finished. When you take the time to reflect, I think that's when you come to a lot of realizations.
For sure, for sure. I can't relate. Um, you've been a pro, you've been in the pros with the pros, and now you're a CEO. Obviously, you've been in hot water. I could say that.
Yeah.
But tell us, how do you handle the pressure and expectations that come with it? And how does it relate to maintaining as well your momentum and your performance?
Man, I think dealing with the pressure is something that we strive to do every day.
Right.
There's always, I always say that there's, as long as you're alive, there's always going to be a problem, right? Like, today you could have a problem with your car, but if it wasn't your car, there would be something else, right? So I think the best way when it comes to the pressure is just obviously embrace it, and understand that it's always going to be there. And I just try to take the time to strategize. I think if I'm facing a situation that's stressful, I'm slowing it down a little bit, and I'm zooming out, and I'm trying to see what are the ways, a step I can take, or if there's nothing to do, if I feel like I did, or I'm doing everything that in my power that I can control, I just let it be. There's some stuff that you can't control. As long as you did your best, as long as you control the controllables, it's out of your hands.
For sure. It's something that I not that I struggle, but I think it's everybody's challenge to not being so not to control everything,
Yeah.
So it's about like letting go of what you can't control, like you said.
Letting go, and pressure. Usually, like in football, we always say pressure is a privilege.
Mm.
And we say pressure either bursts pipes or builds diamonds. So it either breaks you or it makes you extraordinary. But I would say it's embracing it too. I think that if you are in a situation that's stressful, it's because it's an opportunity for you to grow from it, or figure things out. So it is a privilege as well. And like I said, like you said, there's things we can't control. So you do your best.
I like that you said that because I've heard that somewhere. Where did I heard that before? I think it was Tim Grover. I'm sure you know.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying that pressure is a privilege, and I was like, no. I mean, I'm trying to manage my high blood pressure and stuff like that. And you say it's a privilege. You know what? It's a totally, it's a complete, different mindset. I could say that. Talking about setbacks and failures, which are very common. How do you bounce back from disappointments and stay focused on your goals? I mean, it's something, I think it's part of life that you trying to separate your emotions from, but how do you go about that? What's your thought or philosophy on that?
On setbacks?
Setbacks, how do you bounce back from disappointed and stay in disappointments and stay focused on your goals?
Man, what I might say might be toxic, but I say what I'm gonna say might be toxic, and I'm not saying that's how everyone should respond to it. But I'm just trying to not stay in my emotions. I'm just trying to, a lot of the times, setbacks are gonna happen. It could be a relationship, you lose a partner, or a job that you wanted, or a project that didn't go through, or stuff that you wanted to do that didn't happen. And then, there's emotions that's going to come tied to it. And then you just have to eventually get out like we say, get out your feelings, get out your feelings. Because when you're in your feelings, there's nothing happening there. So try to get out your feelings and try to bust up, right? Women up, try to bust up. And I think that's one thing that I do.
Touche.
No, for sure. And then, you can, if you stay in your feelings for too long and things now, there's no motions, there's no momentum that's going to be created. So you just have to get out your feelings. Like it's, like it happens. It's not the end of the world. You got
But how do
somebody.
you process your emotions and your feelings? Because I think it's human. If you go
Yeah.
about life trying to ignore those feelings, don't you think? I don't know if it's part of your toxic way, but I'm just saying that. Don't you think? How do we process? Because at one point we need to sit down in those feelings.
Yeah, and it's not that we don't sit down with them. I think we should all sit down with it and take the time that it takes. But just understanding, like, as long as I stay in this state of mind, nothing is gonna happen outside of that. So an example is somebody's going through, and I have a friend that's going through a breakup right now, and I know those are horrible. That happened to me, and I know how hard it is. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, one thing I saw, and I forgot who said that, was it was maybe on a podcast, a love podcast, and someone was asking, it's like, when do you know that you're going to be over the breakup? Like, when can you get out that feeling? And the answer was, when you decide. It's when you make a decision. I think that maybe it's me, but I had a lot of hardship. I had disappointment, a lot of disappointment. I think we all did. Like, we all had people let us down or letting
Mm,
ourselves down. So it happened a lot. So it's like, you get, I don't know, you just get used to it, and then you understand that it's part of the game. Like, kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's just have to understand the game, and the game is I mentioned earlier about hardship, disappointment. Those are part of evolving, and it's part of the game. Like,
right.
so it's not to take it too crazy and accept it. It's part of the game. So I'm gonna get hurt again. Like, you're gonna get hurt again. As long
For
as
sure.
you're like, you gotta be disappointed again. You're gonna have betrayal again. You're gonna fail again. As long as you keep trying, right? So it's part of the game.
Right. I like that. I like that mentality. Talking about mentality, I think physical training is obviously a significant part of your everyday life. But how do you prioritize and incorporate mental training into your routine? And should people have that a routine for mental training?
I think it's just doing stuff that makes you feel good. And when I say good, is not like good like running away from problems. Me, I like to take walks. I take a walk. I took one this morning. I like to go next to the water, take a walk, and just sit and reflect. I think that could be a part. Of course, training, I think, is the number one. Uh, Training, like taking care of yourself. Like, when you train and you push your mind, it's a affirmation of the power that you have. So that's one thing that would be like the, if I would say, training and nutrition, like, feeling, it brings good feeling to yourself, and it's like self, and I think that's mental part is training. It's just push yourself, get out your comfort zone, do stuff that you don't want to do. I think that's, and then obviously, like I said, taking walks, whatever feels good for you, but not good in like, I need to run away, so I need to drink, or I need to run away, I need to smoke, or more like, okay, where can I challenge your thoughts or sit down and feel good, be in a good spot.
I love that. Um, in that same train of thought, can you share a daily or weekly habit that had been an instrumental in cultivating and sustaining an unshakable mindset?
It's good because now I'm on my stuff, like we say. I'm on my stuff. So, in a sense of, so a daily routine, you said,
Yeah, daily or even weekly routine.
for the
Habits, I
mental, or
mean,
what,
sorry, habits.
of my habits that I do.
You yours, and if you know like anything that can help the our audience to level up.
Yeah, for sure. like if I talk about my daily, I would say is one thing that you can do, and I think that helped me is obviously a calendar. Being like, because I'm very like, I could be very unorganized. I'm all over the place, and not that I'm like, once I have my mind locked into something, it's only that, the rest. So I can't. Seems like I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. So I think having a schedule that you make and try to respect that schedule as much as possible. And then obviously, like I said, if I had to say like a daily of my day, it's waking up, training, try to get a lifting in, and just dedicate hours for whatever you want to accomplish. I know for you it's your business, so it's like, okay, for this next 4 hours, I'm not giving my attention to anything else but that. Um, I think those are the habit stuff, and we can go deep into like self affirmations and that kind of
For
stuff.
sure.
But I believe in those things, but at a certain extent, I think now society has pushed all those things too far. uh Reality is just you have to do the work. Like it's good we can do self-affirmation all day, we can talk and do this, but those are not, like, those are good for the soul, but it's become too much of an escape or a thing. I would say
Mm-hmm.
like it's just sitting down and actually doing the work. Could be dirty work, could be good work, but doing the work and get to it, you know.
Yeah. Shake it off.
Yeah, get to it, just do the work.
Yeah, I know. But now I want to dive right into your athlete mind, or even as a CEO who often faced intense competition and rivalry. How do you maintain a positive mindset, state of mind, while competing against others and dealing with the pressure to perform?
One thing, one of my coaches that I had in the pros, he used to say something, and it really stuck with me, was keep the blinders on. I mean, keep your blinders on, meaning focus on yourself. If you start looking what other people are doing, even if it's or if you start looking into, like, the second you start looking at somebody else's lane, that's when you get off your lane, right? So I would say competition always going to be there. uh Keep your blinders on, and just focus on what you do and what you can do. And if you want to look at other people, it's for inspiration, it's for strategy. Maybe look like, what can I do better than that person in his business? So you see somebody else doing the same thing as you, and you're like, yeah, I like that, what that person is doing. She's having a lot of success. So maybe just mimic. But I would say just trying to lock in on your thing, and don't look at other people.
I love that. That's a golden nuggets right here. I think I'm gonna
Okay.
very cherish that that point that you just shared. It's a golden nuggets. Can you provide some examples of mentors or role models who have helped you shape your mindset and attitude towards success?
For sure. Of course, one of them, you Dr. Back. I think he helped me a lot. We had a chance to write a book together, the book that you mentioned, Champions Mindset, and just seeing at a high level and how he produced stuff. I think that obviously shaped me a lot in different aspects. And a lot of coaches that I had really, so it could be certain words, certain habits that he installed in players, and the young guys that I coach through the academy. We always say we learn more from. We always think that coaching, we are the one, giving the knowledge, but a lot of times we're the one learning the most, right? So, I would suggest the young cats that I'm coaching, and um, mentors and coaches, around, help me shape different aspects.
During the transition from professional athletes to other aspect of your life, what lessons did you carry forward?
From the pro athlete life.
From the transition, what did you took from that experience um, towards life now
Yeah,
and in all aspect of your life?
I would say what one aspect that I learned and that I carry from being a professional athlete was, one thing that I noticed is that if I put the same energy, the same grit into other thing in my life, is gonna produce results, right? I think that's one thing. So every time I put my mind into something, and I really locked in, and I was really locked in. It happened in sports, so I'm like, I just have to apply the same energy, that same work, and um, work ethic. Of course, is something that I took from sports, and it's probably the number one teacher when it comes to playing sports. Not has to be not just professional, but just in general, is work ethic, which is the most important to begin with. And football is also a lot about communication, right? A lot of teams that I've been on, I had a chance to be a captain in college, I had a chance to be a captain in high school as well. So just be able to get to know people. I think that the teams that I've been on and the relationship that I built with players was caring about people. When you care about people, that makes you a good leader. Leadership is not so much about, sometimes we try to make it so complicated, but the reality is just about caring about somebody else and knowing that person. How can I communicate with Natasha? It's not the same way I'm probably going to communicate with Melissa or anybody else, right? So it's just understanding how people are different.
But communications is definitely a huge, a very huge part. I mean, yeah. I think the most challenging part is listening.
Yeah,
because nowadays where everybody's talking.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. I think that is the communication that we need, the listening part.
Tell us, Chris, how do you balance the drive for excellence with the need for self-care and mental well-being in your demanding everyday life?
To be honest, I need to do a better job. Actually, so I'm not even the right person to ask. What I'm saying is, I need to learn how to balance things more. I feel like I'm very unbalanced, but depending on people's opinion, I think it could be a good thing. I feel like every time like I said earlier, like I'm locked into something, I'm cutting everything off. There's no friends, there's no family. It's only this, and then once I'm in family mode, it's only that. So I think balance, and I saw something on a video on Instagram. It's somebody talk about balance, and he was like, if you want to be successful, and you want to do something massive, you can be balanced. It's you can be balanced at least for a certain period of time. You have to be extremely unbalanced, and I believe in that. So I believe that balance is will come, but it's also good to be unbalanced and be like. But I'm not the right person for balance. I have a lot of friends that talks to me about being balanced. I can take their advice, but I'm not the best when it comes to balancing.
I mean, I speak to any entrepreneurs. They're like, there's no balance in that. It's just like you just not even go with the flow, but you
prioritize differently.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Well, you said it well. We're just gonna go back to adversity. In face of adversity or challenging moment, what's your go-to strategy for regaining focus and maintaining a positive mindset? Please, I'll take that. And if I have to grab a pen for this, I will do that because it cannot be more.
In face of adversity, what's
your go-to strategy for regaining focus and maintaining a positive mindset?
One strategy that I had for football was I look back, you zone out, like zoom out. I mean, I look back in my career and I'm like, I remember when that happened, I thought it was finished and I'm still here. I remember when that happened, I thought I was done, So there's a lot of times that you face adversity.
Right.
Like you had a test, or when we were young, we had a presentation to do and we didn't want to do it. We thought it'd be the end of the world, and we're still here. So it's like we're still gonna be like here tomorrow. When I say that, it's in a sense of the adversity is not gonna kill us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just understanding the game.
I love that, and I have like an overview. You said it. I think you said it. It's about zooming out, so you just having a big picture and an overview of the situation, whatever you're playing. whether it's on the field or literally on the field or in life, I guess.
Absolutely. I agree.
I love that. As our podcast is titled, today's podcast is titled Unshakable Mindset. Can you provide a message or a mantra that encapsulate your philosophy on maintaining a strong mindset in life?
Yeah, for sure. Push yourself. Push yourself. I think that surpass your limits, challenge your limits, always go to the line, like the limit line, to always test the limits. I think that's the best way. I think the best way is to go to the extreme. There's nothing that happens in the middle, right? Like, if you want something to happen, it always happens in the extreme. In the middle, things doesn't move much, but when it's in the extreme, that's when a lot of things can be shake and shaped. So I would say just don't stay in the middle. Like, really test the boundaries, test your limits, see how far you can go. Because a lot of times we are a lot stronger than we think we are, and like 10,000 times stronger than we think we are. So
that makes me think of David Goggins, the cookie jar.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a guy that we should have up here.
That's something else.
Let's hit him up. Let's make sure.
Yeah, you might have contacts. You help me out on this.
I wish I could get in contact with him.
Chris, it's been a pleasure to have you. I want to wrap up this amazing episode by asking you, what is your legacy? What do you want to be remembered for?
Obviously, as a person, and people that know me well, and people that care about me, and the people that I care. Always been honest. I think, honest in the work that I do, honest in my person. Even not saying being perfect, but just being honest, being authentic. I think that would be, the number one thing when it comes to legacy wise. I would like to remember just being authentic, a person that didn't try to be somebody else, didn't try to fit in rooms or scheme, just like really just authentic, and what you see is what you get type thing.
That's what you exude, a human side that's very authentic and genuine. So I love that.
Thank you.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. That's been an amazing episode, and I'm hoping that I can get you back on the episode next time.
You're gonna make it happen faster this time.
Maybe in your academy. I hope so.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You were listening to the Woman Up podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please hit the follow button, share it on social media so we can send you a shout out. To get information on public speaking coaching with Natasha DG, reach out by email at contact@natashadg.com or by phone 514-558-5777. Thanks again, and I'll see you on next one. Until then, woman up.